Hi, it's DL with Tranquil Living. If we are approaching that menstrual time and the body is starting to feel really heavy and crampy, this might feel really good. It's a restorative practice that I call one-bolster. So if you don't have a big bolster, comme ça, like that, then you just need a stack of blankets or some pillows that you can stack, and that's all you need. So let's get going. So we'll be starting in a child's pose. So you can spread your legs about as wide as the mat and have the bolster on the inner thigh somewhere. And now a block can also be nice here, but you don't have to have a block. So if you don't have a block, you're just going to lay your trunk over the bolster and either turn your head to one side or the other, or rest your head on your hands, whichever is more comfortable. If you do happen to have a block handy, you can put it under the top of the bolster and your arms through and around. And that can be really nice because you've got something to hug. The other thing that I will say that if you have and you want to use, if you have a blanket, it can be nice to have a little bit of height and extra padding for the belly region. So again, this is kind of like trial and error and seeing what works best for you. So you could always place that there and then the rest of you around the bolster. So we're going to spend a few minutes here. Go ahead and get comfortable. And then, you know, that heaviness that comes with our periods, we can, instead of fighting that sensation of heaviness, we can use it to help ourselves feel more grounded to the earth. Just give in to that heaviness and let it soften and lengthen parts of the body that were tight and restricted and constantly working to hold us up, to help us function during the day. Just release. And it can be really nice, if it's comfortable for you, to do an ujjayi breath. That's that breath that sounds kind of Darth Vader-like. But it's light, you know, it's not effortful. Think of the ocean tide sweeping in and sweeping away with each inhale and exhale. As you rest and breathe, just Notice what you start to feel. Maybe for the first time, maybe an awakening around the heart. Maybe a softness through the lower back. Let those new sensations arise and take note. We're going to prepare to transition into the next pose. Of course, if you'd like to stay here longer, you can just pause the video. Stay as long as you like. So to come out, if your arms are wrapped around the bolster, obviously you want to take them out from under. Otherwise, placing your hands about where your shoulders are so that you can push yourself up and away from the bolster gently. And we're going to use the bolster again slightly in front of the body this time to go into a downward dog, but we'll support our heads with the bolster. So bringing the knees together and placing hands under the shoulders. Let's bend the toes back, and first just take a moment to stretch the toes back, to open the feet, to feel that shifting of weight from the upper body to the lower body as we move our tail back and forth. Just noticing what we feel, any sloshiness, any heaviness, any discomfort or pain. And then we're going to open the tail up towards the sky and the legs to the space behind us as we lengthen the spine. Don't worry about straight legs. Keep the knees nice and bent, especially at first. And then as you soften, you can deepen and lengthen. We have a nice long line from the heels to the tailbone, and from the tailbone back through the top of the head. And once you feel comfortable and in your bones to support you, rather than, a lot of effort to hold yourself up here and pushing the ground away, use that heaviness of your body so that you can position yourself and just rest your forehead on that bolster. Now, if this isn't comfortable for whatever reason, you can do downward dog in a chair. And that means you're not in such an extreme position, and just rest your forehead on the chair. We won't be here very long. In fact, anytime you want to come down, feel free. It's really important here to use that tissue of the belly area all around the waist and belly and lower ribs, and bring that inward and upward, and feeling that emptying here that can relieve some of the stress and tension around the core. Let's bring our knees back down now, and we will switch into our next one bolster position. Goodness. Someone's awake upstairs. Okay, so we'll be coming onto our backs. And this time we'll be using the bolster to elevate our hips. So you can slide the bolster under the sacrum. So we don't want it in the lower back. We want to make sure that it's low enough to support the sacrum and not impede with the spine, the lower spine. So if you're not comfortable with having the hips higher than the heart, then you can lengthen one leg at a time, and that's going to shift a little bit into more of a bow or a back-bended position, which could feel nice. So it's up to you whether you want to be more in the bridge pose with the hips supported, or more in this back bend supported position. This can be really nice to open up this area if it gets really tight. So again, just whichever position you like, we're going to hold here for just a few moments. And the arms are wherever they're comfortable, so you can have them on your hips resting or anywhere alongside the body, even overhead if that doesn't feel too extreme for your body this morning. And again, returning to that Ujjayi breath. And I'm noticing some discomfort in my lower back, so I am going to bend my legs and bring myself more into a bridge pose. And if you want to change at any point, feel free. Surrender the parts of your body that are in contact with the floor. Let that tissue spread into the floor and melt. We will transition out of this position shortly. use these last seconds to really let go of any gripping or holding. And again, if you'd like to stay here longer, feel free. Pause the video or just ignore it as it continues on. And now let's push the bolster, lift the hips, and we're going to open the legs into butterfly. So we'll rest the heels upon the bolster, and as much as the leg as the bolster happens to accommodate. So resting here, releasing the weight of the legs to the bolster. Now feeling the back on the ground again. You may have to adjust the bolster closer to the body or further away so that the soles of the feet can touch, but that there's no effort in the legs to hold yourself on the bolster. And again, the hands can rest wherever they're comfortable. Ujjayi breath. So don't be afraid to sigh, to make noise, to groan even. Groaning can be so helpful when we feel any pain or discomfort. We'll be moving out of this position into our last little bit before Savasana. So again, if you want to stay here longer, feel free. Otherwise, let's bring the hands around to the back of the thigh from the outside and use the hands to help bring the legs back up. And bring the knees into the chest if that feels good. You can rock a little. We're going to fall onto our sides into a fetal position, so if you want to go straight there, feel free. And from there, just pushing ourselves up. Come into a comfortable seated position. If that means being on a chair for you, that's fine. What we want to be able to do is just reach one foot. So we're going to work along the whole internal area and external area of the heel. And so using your thumb and forefinger like pincers, you're just going to work that tissue. You can use both hands or one hand. And note, it might be really tender. So be gentle. If you find a trigger point and want to work into it deeply, just do so with care rather than, forcing, imposition. And let's get the other foot as well. And you might find that one is actually tender, the other's not. Or they both may be. Okay, so we'll be going into Savasana, and if you would like to have any kind of support, feel free to use something under your knees, under your head, whatever. And you can also, if you prefer, you can lie on your belly for this. So, I think I just want a little bit of elevation through my heart, so I'm going to use my blanket for that. And then just lie back in whatever position you're comfortable in and rest. Let go completely. No more efforting, even though we didn't effort a whole lot. Now we do even less. Now we just leave it all to the body in its own time and space to continue its unraveling. And if we feel pain or discomfort, we breathe with it. And if we feel heavy and watery, then we give in to that feeling, exaggerate that feeling. I don't know about you, but I'm still feeling that sensation in the ankles, and it feels like it's releasing a lot. So I hope you're having that same experience. or some other pleasant experience. I'm going to take a long body stretch here. Again, if you want to spend more time in Shavasana, just pause or ignore me. Otherwise, you can take a nice long body stretch, wrapping all of the tissues around the bones as you reach away from the core. And then softening and bringing everything back in towards the core. And release. So to come out when you're ready, just roll onto your side. Take that moment in a fetal position. And then pushing up with the top arm. So I hope that was just what you needed today, and I will see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Have a tranquil day.